Smart 24, driving business.
And since we are still celebrating tourism, because last week was where we celebrated the World Tourism Day, so I presume we are still in the World Tourism Month, and so we continue to have tourism as a discussion. So this week's topic of discussion is navigating operational tourism enterprise. Welcome to the show. My name is Samantha.
In today's dynamic world, tourism offers boundless opportunities for young entrepreneurs interested in this sector. Let it be, it could be from creating the unique travel experiences or even managing eco-friendly accommodations. And today on set, we have a wonderful gentleman named by Kayondo, the founder of Adicts. I will allow him to talk more about what Adicts is, then we can dive into the topic like somebody talked about. You're welcome, Ibra.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So Ibra, it is well clear that you're the founder of Adicts, right?
Yeah,
what inspired you to venture into the tourism business? Or how did Addicts begin? How did it start?
Well, I used to love leopards when I was growing up. So,
okay.
When I was in primary school, I used to write about the cat family. So I think it was something that I had not realized, but I used to write more about leopards, cheetahs. So when I got into my senior 6 vacation, of course the spirit rose again. It was a calling, so I started doing trips, but not for money. Just to have friends and divide the kamane, be like, what, each person is bringing this and this. Let's go to Lake Mboro. We spend there 3 days, 2 nights. So I became the head all of a sudden. And after that, guys were like, you know what, you can start up a brand that can be doing tourism. When I was doing tourism, I didn't even know there was a ministry for tourism.
Wow.
So basically, it was something that I loved doing. I ventured into doing because I felt like the packages by then were really expensive, 600 and above, something that was not affordable to young people. So I got an opportunity of, having a few friends, like I said, then divide the kamane amongst ourselves, go and venture Uganda. Yeah.
Wow. Like you see, okay, most young people out there believe, like you get to hear of the tourism industry and they're like, what business can I even start? What could be some of the variety of the business ideas you could maybe give to people out there that they can venture into the sector?
Oh, tourism is quite broad. That's why they say there's travel side of tourism, then there's safari, so there's also accommodation. So it depends where you want to venture. If you want to venture into transport, that's travel, air ticketing, hiring out vehicles for such experiences, or else you become a tour operator, the company owner, there's tour guiding. So the industry is still, I would say, fresh for the youth, still virgin for the youth. So it's high time we ventured into this, because we believe statistically we are 70% of the population.
Yeah.
And when I was coming through today, I heard over the radio that 4 million Ugandans who are youth still don't have jobs.
Yeah.
That's about 18 to 35. They don't have jobs. They don't even know what to do. So basically, it's the government's role to teach Ugandans that, the tourism industry is still fresh. You guys can venture in, because the moment we start supporting the transport system, but in tourism, you're supporting very many people, supporting the driver who drives, the drivers that do drive these vehicles, at the lodge you're supporting, the owner of the lodge, you're supporting the people washing, you're supporting, you're basically supporting, creating more opportunities, employment opportunities for young people.
Wow. You seem to have been so involved in this business. When did Addicts begin, aside from the Form 6
Trip Addicts
How
as a
many
brand
years now?
began in 2019.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, given the competition in the industry, how have you managed to differentiate yourself from these other, okay, let's say the travel agencies that
Yeah.
are involved in the sector? How have you managed to keep up with the competitiveness in the sector today?
Okay. I started doing tours before I started Trip Addicts. So I started doing tourism in 2015.
Okay.
The uniqueness about the competition is I try as much as possible to be very creative. I try learn the behavior of young people in Uganda. The moment you learn the behavior structure of young people, trust me, you're going to be very creative. Because if you look at tourism, very few Ugandans would love to go to Queen. Very few actually. You can't convince them that we are going to Queen. They will ask you what's beyond Queen. You have to know to add in entertainment. So I sat down and wrote silent disc on the bus as you go to a national park, as you go to a destination.
Wow.
You enjoy. So that's the uniqueness that, of course, shadows out. Yeah, shadows out the competitiveness.
Wow.
So, away from your interest as a young person and where tourism starts, now you're an inspiration already, the mere fact that you're on this platform today. So, back to the basics. For a young person wanting to start a tourism business, what are the requirements? What should they know? Who should they know? What should they be part of?
Okay.
For them to be able to run this business and it's able to see its first birthday, because most of them will come after 6 months, after 2 months, after 3, and they collapse. But we're talking about a tourism venture that is going to run for more than 1 year.
So that's a tricky question. But I usually advise young people like me, first of all,
Like you.
yeah, I'm a young person.
Okay.
So I usually advise young people like me to, first of all, create relationships, create partnerships, and don't do what I do, however much it's also tourism. Be exception a little bit when you're going to Kasese, create, because the major destinations in Uganda are real known. So create the partnerships. Every time you go to Kasese, know if a lodge goes for about $100, the owner will give it to me at $80 at least. So that keeps you in business. That keeps you in check. That you're creating partnerships, transport-wise, you're creating partnerships, accommodation-wise. So at the end of it all, you find yourself making a little bit of some profits, because most young people actually do now is domestic tourism. Be very frank, domestic tourism is still a little bit tricky when it comes to profit making. Very tricky. Ugandans don't want to release Kamani, but of course they would love to travel, but Kamani is, Kamani is even the economy, so I can't blame the Ugandans who don't want to bring in the Kamani. The economy is a little bit stiff. But when you create partnerships like Trip Addicts has, or myself, like I have, you end up getting a little bit profits off, as you also support the local ventures in these destinations.
Wow. Speaking of creative means, Ibra, what could be some of the challenges you've encountered running a tourism business? What are some of those challenges? Like you have to be sure, like you guys, yes, you're into this business, but be ready for this and that. Yes, what are those challenges you've encountered?
Marketing.
Wow.
Is the biggest challenge in domestic tourism.
Okay.
If I told you to get 30 people to go to Queen Elizabeth, just at 300K only. The 300K, the same money.
You didn't have to add
Only.
And that's what I'm saying. 300K, you see, I would be very frank. These campus girls at MOBS go to Thrones. They spend, one person spends 300K. In economics, that's opportunity cost. That means they haven't sharpened their minds to tourism. So it's the government's role to bring in campaigns more than the explore campaigns to teach Ugandans on how to love to travel. It could start from school. If you look at schools, in statistically we have 9 million schoolgoers from primary to universities and tertiary institutions. That's 9 million virgin people, like people who don't know about tourism. As you do from school, from primary, you study the SST. SST involves a lot of geography, involves a lot of these destinations, but you finish primary without even going to a national park, without even going to any forests, without even going to any waterfalls. So I think the Ministry of Tourism has a big burden to work with other sectors, let's say education, because it's easy. If the Ministry of Tourism gets in touch with the Ministry of Education, and we see how about we tap into the 9 million, tourism would be growing. Tour operators would get these opportunities because you put a restraining order to schools not to do the trips themselves. You'd be like, not use tour companies. So at the end of it all, it becomes easy to get the market.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You get, it becomes very easy to get the market. But now as it is, marketing is the hardest. You see me, if I speak of marketing, yet my brand is out there, just know that marketing is the hardest.
So-
Yes.
Yeah. Well, speaking of marketing, I follow your account. I feel like you do so much of advertising via social media. How would you say, what's your assessment of what social media has done to add maybe on what the tourism sector is having today? How beneficial is social media in this sector?
And which platform stands out? Like which
Yeah.
platform has brought the most customers
Oh,
for trip addicts?
Twitter,
Okay.
the one that is called X. So,
Today.
yeah, today. So it's the biggest for trip addicts. Regardless, we have gotten clients off Twitter, but Twitter was, as a social media platform, was the child take care for trip addicts. But now, of course, WhatsApp stands out. You create a fan base or a clientele base that goes now from these platforms that are real open. You know, WhatsApp is a social media platform, but it's not real open.
Private.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more of a private, regardless of the groups. So you take them to now WhatsApp. So WhatsApp stands out. So when you're doing great, a client, or of course a client tells another client. So a client also becomes now a basis for your marketing. If you provide exactly what they expected or more, a client becomes your marketing agent.
Yeah, value for their money.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but Twitter has been great for me, to be honest. Oh, X.
Well, as we were discussing some of the challenges, like Ibra was telling us about how marketing is all difficult and all that, during this week, guys, I'm sure you've all been seeing it. There's been this common thing of fraud in the gorilla tracking permits and all that. What's your take on that? What would you have to say?
Of course, it creates loss for government, it creates loss for the country, about 60 billion shillings. But there's always, of course, genesis for everything.
Yeah.
How does one person, the one guard who is on a computer, registering clients for gorilla tracking permits, gets a chance of almost confusing these tour companies? There are about 7 actually that are involved in this fraud, but I won't mention their names. It's not, but it gets confusing to a point that how do 7 tour companies use the same receipt number without the warden and Bwindi knowing?
Yeah, with the systems we have.
With the
today,
systems
honestly,
we are having, because the moment you have digital systems, you're trying to do away with the fraud, but it is now the digital system that is helping people
To now steal.
yes, in the institutions now to steal. But again, I usually say the truth, it's not God's problem. Of course, God is an officer, a registering officer, but now that means there's someone in top office that is using God to do this whole kind of, fraud.
And
But
now they are squeezing God.
of course, God is always now a sacrifice. That happens everywhere in deals. God has to sacrifice for the other people in big offices, but it's not usual for someone who just types in and has the confidence to steal from about 8, 9 tickets or that ticket being used 8-9 times. Now the chimpanzee palm is also being used for Goliath tracking. It is not something I find normal. I find it very suspicious and fishy.
Yeah, actually today tour operators came out and they complained. They were like, this whole thing is booming out there, by the way, to the point that some were complaining that these days when they get, let's say, clients or some of the clients that were planning to pay and come in Uganda, they're questioning the services in the tourism sector, whereby these people are like, why should this be happening after COVID, after all those challenges we've encountered?
I'll give you an example. Tourism, the YC tourism of late is it is becoming the new face of this country.
Yeah.
And we all know what happens when something is becoming the face of this country. Uganda is one of the most rated countries when it comes to corruption. So when tourism becomes the face of this country, of course now the money is being released in a budget increases. So when it increases, now it becomes, yes, of course now you have to look for a way of also, if you're in office, of eating. So every person in the institution, almost, I won't say every person, almost every person in the government institution doesn't care about Uganda. They do care about where will I eat from, where will my kids eat from. Because that now brings us to, if tourism now, the last financial year, and Uganda, more money than exporting coffee. You know what I'm trying to mean now?
It actually brings in 6.6 trillion shillings annually.
So that means it earns now more than coffee, something that has been earning Uganda more foreign exchange. But now tourism has overtaken and it earns more foreign exchange for this country than coffee. So that's why you see campaigns coming up left, right, center from these institutions. The ministry is bringing explore campaigns with zero impact to the public, because the moment you walk, you're a journalist, the moment you go to the streets and start asking Ugandans how much they know about their country, you'll be shocked that the tourism explore Uganda campaigns have yielded nothing.
The uptown people.
Not even the uptown people, they are just helping people who have time to spend. They don't have time to do anything. You can go out there and spend 5 days. Of course, transport is paid for. Entrance to the sites is paid for. You only cater for your accommodation. But we need to teach Ugandans. This is the campaigns would be good, but they don't sensitize. It's just another trip, like the way Trip Addicts would organize a trip actually.
And you go.
Yes, and you go.
Take videos and come
Exactly.
back.
So that's what happens there.
Yeah, since we've brought up the sensitization bit and maybe creating more awareness for more young individuals to involve themselves in the industry, do you think government has played its role in promoting the industry?
Promoting, yeah, the government has, I wouldn't downplay the government's
Initiative.
yeah, but we're still lacking a lot. A lot is still lacking.
In
If
which
you look
end?
at, of course, promotion, marketing. These people don't want us to compare. If you look at East Africa, I'm now not talking even domestic tourism. Because if you look at East Africa, of course, Uganda is doing actually real well when it comes to domestic tourism. That's many thanks to young people like me. Because domestic tourism is entirely done by young people.
Yeah.
Entirely done by young people. And that's the gradual process, the rise. If you look at domestic tourism, the numbers are up there from, of course, 14% to 35%, now to 64%. So that means the young people are doing a great job. The young operators are doing a real great job. Now the problem comes in inbound. If you look at what Rwanda is doing, that's promotion. Let's be honest, that's promotion. If you look at what Kenya is doing with their initiatives, that's promotion. Now Uganda, I don't know what exactly we are doing to entice. Exactly. I don't know what we are doing to entice the Europeans, the Americans to come to, Uganda. It is only on a company level where, as Trip Addicts, I have people I know in America that I will entice to come to Uganda. But because I also want to earn, not because, that means even though I were in Rwanda, I would entice them to come to Rwanda. If my company were in Kenya, I would entice them to come to Kenya. So that's on a personal level, yes. But the government, if well marketed tourism, trust me, wouldn't be suffering. Numbers would be coming in and would be shooting.
Wow.
That is. So I hope the government has had us out. I hope the government has had us out. But on the point of potholes, there is a complaint, okay, not in potholes, but there's a complaint about the Kidepo Valley National Game Park. Like whenever it rains, the roads are so bad, very bad, and most times it gives hard time to people traveling and moving that side, and it's a turn off for the guys coming from outside. So I'm requesting the government to work upon that. Rather than that, let's take a short commercial break, and we are going to be right back. Keep it, but
Smart 24, driving business.
Luxury redefined at Seasan Hotel as you indulge in the splendor of elegant living fit for the royalty that you are. Step into comfort, pampering and blissful customer-centric service as you select from our range of comfy exquisite living quarters furnished to meet with your royal preference. Surrounded by scenic beauty, our tropical setting allows you to escape the glamorous ordeal of city life. Our ambient green gardens will guide you to a place of revitalizing rest. The 3-star restaurant caters to your palate, serving your choice menu ranging from exotic cuisines to local delicacies. Our chefs will serve you full-course meals for a truly out-of-this-world culinary experience. Our fully stocked bar to whet your throat, from renowned global brand whisks, brandies, gins, beers and wines to our locally celebrated beverages, you will not lack for any brewage. It's an all-new experience in the East at Seasan Hotel, so visit today at plot 15 to 19 Spire Road, Ginger, or contact us on +256 751 719 960 and +256 785 354 614 for reservations. Seasan Hotels, luxury redefined.
Mu Jinja Central Market twidi wano okubanga twedusa abantu okuwaayo kumbaga ya mwenemu nga bakozesa momope kati mu Jinja Central Market sobola okubanga tuwayana abatyamye momope neri kwogeza abantu obwamu
tamu ndalo otemu mukaga otemu itanga otemu sita onige isatu onige ash onige yes aye nga tuwaayo tikashi nga tuwaayo nga tubita ku momope enkola ya MTN liga 70
Pay or shop with MTN Momo and get cash back every week. It's free of charge. Use the Momo app or dial *165*3#.
It's the Premier League, all on DSTV. All the goals, clashes, and moments. All of Rashford, Salah, and Saka.
This start is getting better.
All in the language of your choice. All in HD. Available on all these bouquets to choose from. To watch on all these devices. Get DSTV with an HD decoder plus installation and 1 month family for 89,000 Ugandan shillings. It's the Premier League, all on DSTV.
Say goodbye to paperwork and travel costs. Now every MTN customer can register to invest in securities anytime and anywhere with Zabu in a few simple steps. Step 1. Dial *292#. Step 2. Select option 1. Register with Zabu. Step 3. Enter your full names. Step 4. Enter your national identification number. Step 5. Enter your national identification card number. In 24 hours, you will receive an SMS confirming your registration. Congratulations, you are now ready to invest.
In a world where trade drives economic growth and development, Africa is now embracing a new era of intracontinental trade through the African Continental Free Trade Area to unleash its immense potential. Witness the spirit of entrepreneurship as African businesses forge a way into partnership and venture beyond their borders in a single African market. Discover the innovative solutions being initiated and created to address challenges and seize opportunities in sustainable agriculture, renewable energy, and technological advancements. We expand our lens to showcase the efforts and success of economic integration across the entire African continent, from West Africa to East Africa, North Africa to Southern Africa, Central Africa, and even the diaspora, as the tapestry of unity grows stronger with each story we tell. African Perspective, driving business and trade across Africa. Don't miss the African Perspective in Smart 24 every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at exactly 6 p.m. East African Standard Time as we drive business and trade across Africa. Download the Smart Digital app on Play Store and enjoy your favorite TV shows, documentaries, and radio in your palm on the go. Smart 24, driving business.
We'll be back from that short break as we continue this conversation, of course, navigating all the challenges, how we can overcome some of these challenges as young entrepreneurs in the sector. Well, Ibra, in a post-pandemic world today, aside from all the challenges we've encountered as the sector, from Ebola, ADF, COVID, all that, how has the sector evolved? What are those strategies you've adopted to work for you in some of these changes that come up unknowingly? Yeah.
Well, of course, there's always ups and lows. The domestic tourism is not greatly affected by those challenges you've put across. But of course, the inbound tourism is greatly affected. It was greatly affected by passing the law of anti-gay something. Really, that, leave alone even the ADF attacking Kasese, that was the greatest that hit the inbound tourism industry. I don't know why it's believed so much in human rights, regardless of us Ugandans believing in our virtues.
Maybe they felt, Ibra, maybe they felt insecure. Yes. They felt like maybe if I'm gay and I come to Uganda, I'll be arrested.
No, but exactly, these people didn't understand what the president talked about. Okay. The president didn't sign the bill to stop gayism. No.
The practice.
The president said, if you're old, you can do your stuff, but don't teach them.
To the young.
Yes. So if the whole perspective of this, they didn't understand the bill that was signed into the law. The only thing people were shouting about is the president has signed against the anti-homosexuality bill. That's what he has signed, but he put conditions. That's why he came back. If you saw what exactly happened, he came back and tried,
to elaborate.
Yes, to elaborate more. That you know what, as long as you're adults, you've agreed, don't teach, don't preach. Yes, exactly. Don't promote. Actually, that's the better word. He's against promoting this whole thing in his country. But if you're two old adults, you've agreed, it's up to you. So but it greatly affected the inbound.
Shaking tables with hot burning porridge. Anyway, away from that, it's very sad we were hit by that. But we talked challenges earlier, and I want you to tell us one of your worst personal experiences with any of your customers ever since you started tourism as a money-making venture.
Customers. I haven't had an issue with customers.
They pay?
They pay.
They pay?
They pay their money. They pay their money, but of course, like I said, I introduced some...
Enticing?
Not enticing, some initiatives. You can pay for a trip you're going to go for in March, actually. You can start paying now. So to avoid this thing of, Suez Ascente hours, you would rather pay 50-50 until it becomes 350. You're like, not keep that money. I have clients who do that.
Is that 300 per person?
Yeah, per person.
With accommodation and all
Yeah, with
that?
everything. With meals, with accommodation, with transport, with silent disco.
For how many
with,
days?
For 3 days, with access to the sites. So it's really affordable. It's accountable too. So like I was saying, clients pay. Clients pay. Maybe the only issue we have had as the industry of domestic tourism is we carry very big numbers. So we usually use coasters and buses. These coaster people are very dangerous people. You pay and book, the guy is nowhere to
Doesn't appear.
on that very day. So you have to first, now the clients are waiting, you have to first run, go look for another coaster bus. So we really have a challenge of transport. And if you look at the available means, UA has 3 buses. And the buses are a little bit more still expensive. 800K per day is
That's too much.
and that's minus fuel. So it's not some, at least they would rather make it take a 500K if you're going to do domestic tourism, and if you're taking whites, they do 800K. And this venture of buses under UA is greatly supported by the domestic tourism. So let them find a way of reducing this money. Yes.
Wow, that is really enticing. Ibra, what are those sustainable practices you've really implemented or maintained to keep up with your business?
Wow, good question. The practice number 1 is customer satisfaction. As long as the customer is satisfied with what I used to entice them, that's with whatever is on the artwork, I believe that's number 1 thing, number 1 sustainable practice every tour operator needs. The rest is, Ibra, yongera mukano, but as long as the customer reads on the artwork and you've completely given them 99% of it, I think that's a practice every tour operator needs to grow, needs to develop. Of course, we have a problem of timekeeping. That's a general problem for Ugandans. Timekeeping to the side of the client, to the side of the tour operator. But of course, like economics, we have stages, we grow. So you will find at a time when every Ugandan is time conscious. They are keeping time very well, but we are not yet there. We must agree we are not yet there, so we have to go stage by stage.
Yeah.
It's been a very big challenge.
Yeah.
The timekeeping.
It's really a big challenge. When I'm speaking on television, it looks like a small challenge, but when you're to the field and the coaster guy is not there, your clients are seated there. One of the clients is saying, you understand that feeling. That's why I say most people who are doing these campaigns should come into the field. They haven't gotten the first hand, they don't have the experience. Yes, of course they know, Maction is this side, they know all that, but they don't know the process of getting to Maction. Yes, the process of getting to Maction, accommodation, meals. This is what information, there's no information available. Actually, that's one thing I wanted to talk about. The ministry and these institutions don't have adequate information to the youth. Like there are people who not everyone who ventures into tourism knows Ibra, that are going to call me. Even those who know me, some of them do fear to reach out. But if the tourism or the ministry had a way of availing this information to the public. You know what, if you're going to Makshon, these are the lodges around, these are the hotels, these are the guest houses. Because as we promote domestic tourism, we must agree that it is mostly supported by low budget, like real low budget. Because in tourism we have classifications, there's budget, there's mid-range, there's luxury. So most Ugandans go for budget because of Kamani.
Yeah, the basic.
Yes, so that information is not availed. You have to suffer, look for the information, look for the hotels. Then after that, these guys go into some Hotel Africana, they started praising themselves of how domestic tourism has risen. It's because of them. No, it's not because of you people in offices. It's because of these young guys you don't give time to even talk to. It's their efforts. Yeah. Yes.
So in the bits, you feel like government has not really gotten involved with people on the ground, especially the young people. You feel like young people are not supported so much by government, right?
Sure.
Wow.
Young people. Government has no direct support to these young people. It has no direct support.
It's all about tourism in general.
Yeah, it's all about tourism in general. Even when they are doing the domestic tourism campaigns, still they don't reach out to these young people.
Yeah, so earlier on when I was asking you about the sustainable practices, as an environmentalist, now me I was thinking of sustainable development, like practices that protect the environment. Because you realize tourism, of course, contains accommodation.
True.
And the travel. The travel, you, of course, you're using vehicles that are going to produce
the carbon.
Carbon. And then the people traveling are going to consume food, plate waste,
I understand.
bathrooms, okay, wherever it is. So when that Trip Addict, like the CEO of Trip Addict, how are you ensuring that you're carrying out, you're adding some aspects of green to your tourism venture? How are you ensuring that you protect the environment?
Me as Ibra, if you look at what I have been doing since last year, I've been planting trees actually. I planted trees at the zoo. I planted trees at Chambo College School. I left 500 trees at the zoo. I planted around 100 at Chambo College. I also volunteer with a climate change. I don't know whether it's an organization called Green Futures Uganda, where we do, of course, sensitize the young people about the effects of climate change. And of course, one way of controlling this climate change is planting trees and looking after them. That's the easiest. So I've been volunteering with Green Futures. So it is not something basically I have to focus on as Trip Addicts, but beyond Trip Addicts. So as ecotourism. So it is absurd that, of course, we are not allowed to plant trees in the national parks. But of course, when we go to other destinations, the CP Falls, we do plant trees. We do engage in, even when you're talking to these hotel owners, we do use reusable. We ensure that even on these trips, every vehicle we use has dustbins. You get, so to have garbage collection, not littered around. And of course, it is the greatest information that I put out there to the clients is, let's keep the environment green. That's actually the greatest you can do other than planting trees is sensitizing every person you come around. You sensitize them on dangers of these things. If you look at this year's theme in tourism actually aligns with environment. It is green investments, tourism and green investments. So still that brings me to the government. See, government makes policies. Yes, the moment you don't engage the government, your effect is like 1%. But the moment you involve the government, it gets to the 45 million people in Uganda. So this year's Tourism Day theme, till next year, was tourism and green investments. But it is so absurd that during the campaigns recently in Bunyoro, over 50 vehicles were used to visit destinations. How much carbon was released to the environment?
You wanted them to walk?
No, not really walking.
Isn't it far?
No, not walking.
But riding.
Instead of using, not even,
vehicles,
yes,
use
instead
one
of,
vehicle.
no, not, a bus takes about 54 people, regardless
Yeah.
of whether the minister.
Yeah.
Let's stop this thing of saying, if you're at a campaign, engage with the people as a minister. Because these are the same people that go to USA and are put in buses. So what's the difference between taking a bus here? So putting your people other than using the 50 vehicles.
Convoys.
Yes, instead of 50 vehicles, you'll end up using about 10 vehicles. So the carbon release to the environment is different. It is different.
Wow.
I now see your point.
So that's really wonderful.
I now see your point.
Yes, some time back we talked about social media, right?
Yeah.
I feel like we didn't over-exhaust everything, right? So could you mind sharing insights into the role of technology and digital marketing, how it affects business? Because in today's era, almost everything is getting digital.
Yeah.
Almost everything.
Sure.
How would you say it affects the business performance or operations? Yeah.
Of course, the digital world has helped us get closer to the clients, to pass on our information, to pass on our packages to the person I wouldn't have reached if I decided to do ground marketing. I can't reach everyone, let it be even in Kampala. But when I put out there on social media, I reach about 2,000 people that are actually in Kampala. I reach about 4K people. Sometimes when I reach about 20,000 people. So basically social media has made it easy and gapped that ground marketing or informal marketing and has closed in the gap. And you just need the internet, your smartphone, and you're good to go. You're good to tell the world the good message you have for them, the good packages you have for them. Of course, you have to keep on doing it. You don't do it one day and expect results, no. You have to be consistent enough. You have to be good enough. Show the world what differentiates you from the other two operators.
Are you also involved in online bookings and all that? Or you meet your
No,
clients?
no. Most of the bookings that I receive are online bookings. From Twitter, a number is shared, they call me. So that's why the other time you asked me and I told you I don't have an office. I don't see the use of an office other than paying rent for no good reason. If I know I'm doing quality work, my reference is the website, my reference is Instagram, my reference is Twitter, my reference is LinkedIn. They're there. That's why the whites are very sharp. They create these platforms as your shops, but only that we as Ugandans are used to office area. That's the kind of mentality we are used to. At the end of it all, that's why you asked me, that's one of the challenges that has kicked out to operators, because tourism is a little bit seasonal. You find when you're not earning, but the owner of the building doesn't want to know, you have to pay. So at the end of it all, you can't sustain your workers, you can't even pay for your graphics. So it kicks you out of business. But the moment we embrace the social media, the digital world, trust me, we'll kick out unnecessary expenditure like rent.
Aside from trip addicts, maybe what could be some of the success stories you have, or some of your fellow young people you've maybe helped get or access services in the tourism industry? Let's say since you organize groups to go for these travels, would you say that you've also maybe connected friends?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a friend. Maybe someone who is into camera work to go with you on the
Yeah, sure.
What are some of the success stories?
I'm one of the few people. Of course, there are a couple of others, like two that I would say take a break and Kempton Safaris, that initially had seen the importance of taking photographers, what we call content creation. So on my trips, I do take photographers, I do take videographers. That's all support. And I encourage them, I put them out there for the world to embrace. So if you look at the pattern of late,
everyone, whether private trips, are now embracing to have a photograph on their trips. So, but initially, big companies, they're out there. When you check their socials, they're boring. They don't even show anything that. But one way of promoting destinations is having good content about Uganda. So that's something we have been keeping up, mostly for domestic tourism. It's domestic tourism companies that do these things, not even people who get a lot of money from the whites. So content creation has played a very huge role when it comes to promoting Uganda as a destination to both Ugandans and outside Uganda.
Yeah, so Ibra, I want to ask you, there, because right about now, eachwhere, like everywhere you look, there is a business incubator, well, a business hub that is rising or that is being opened up. We have Start Hub, we have Stanbic Business Incubator, we have Einstein Rising, we have, there are loads, there are numbers.
Yeah.
Have any of these business incubators all have strayed to, because now you're looking at the private sector, away from the government, because we've showed the government what it hasn't done and what it should do. Do you feel like the private sector has, to some extent, tried to support tourism through these hubs, business incubators and hubs?
Yeah.
And maybe you could give us one example to encourage the people watching that you can actually approach these business hubs and then you're able to run your tourism business.
Of course, tourism is a little bit tricky with incubators, with those hubs you're talking about. Tourism has mostly been greatly helped by associations, themselves as associations. You can subscribe to these associations, get the knowledge you need about, even support actually, because there's an Aga Khan Foundation. It has greatly supported the young tour operators and an association of UTO, it's called Young Uganda Tour Operator Association, something like that. So the incubators come through, but when you also organize as tour operators.
Organized with a business plan,
yes.
RSD.
With the training, because you see, most of these guys don't want to help individual companies. They want to help group companies. So that's why associations are created. Yes.
Ibra, as we were talking, you also gave us numbers on how the young 70% of today's population in Uganda is of the young people, and well knowing that the highest percentage of us, the young people, we are so unemployed. I would love to ask this question, aside from, given the opportunities you've mentioned here in the tourism sector, why do you think we still have that issue of unemployment today in young people?
Smart 24, driving business.